Navigating the insidious illness of Alzheimer's is something nobody asks for. The disease sneaks up on you and your loved one, and it feels like you've been sucker punched in the gut. Then you ask, where do we turn for help? Who do we call? What do we do? These questions and more are what we hope to answer and give you some direction and hope. Now let's join our host, Jeff Edwards.
Greetings and welcome. Glad you found us. This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers, Season 2, Episode 1. But you know, we're going to call it Episode 21 so I don't get confused when I file all this stuff. Calling it Season 2 was suggested to me by an old radio friend. And when I told him I had to take a break as I'm so busy with my sales job, doing the podcast every week, and being a caregiver for my wife, his name is BJ Odom, and we did feature him in an earlier podcast. He does 2 podcasts himself, but the most important one is called Gift of Life, the Organ Transplant Podcast. And you should check it out. BJ has had a heart transplant and a kidney transplant. He knows from firsthand experience what it takes to go through this life-saving experience. Plus, he said to me, you should interview your wife, as he did once with his wife. I really had to think about that one. Today, we'll hear about the 14 risk factors that increase your odds for dementia and some positive information about the Alzheimer's drug Leqembi. That research says that benefits increase over time. Now, that's really encouraging. And we'll have some information for you on Walk to End Alzheimer's that are coming up in the next couple of months. Now, our interview today is with a woman, and we'll call her Bunny, as she was born on Easter Sunday. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's way back in 2018. She's got a great and positive attitude, and she's been staying active with a number of things that seem to help keep up her spirits. We hope you find it as fascinating to hear as we did when we did the interview. Gut Punched. What is it, and why do we do it? Well, what it is. When I began this, I believed that it was and is an emotional reaction to bad news. When you and your loved one is delivered the bad news that it's Alzheimer's or some other type of dementia, and you feel it deep in your gut, deep in your soul, it lingers, it stirs, it hurts. And why we do it? Well, we do it to share resources, information, even stories for caregivers, so they have a place to turn to get the help they will need in future months and possibly years. Okay, what are the 2 rules we follow here at Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers? You know them. Number 1, you have to take care of yourself. Because if something happens to you, who is going to take care of your loved one? And number 2, you can't do it alone. You need help. Find a good caregivers group or network with friends or relatives. Now, today we're going to add another one. Number 3, make a list of people, friends, relatives, co-workers who have offered to help you in time of need. And they all do. Oh, yeah, if you need any help, let me know. Well, great. Make a list. And then make a list of things you need done. Pick something up at the grocery store, drop off dry cleaning, etc. And make a list of things you need done, but can't because your caregiving duties are overwhelming. Use the lists. Start at the top. Keep going till you get what you need. You'll find it very, very helpful. And thank you, Amy Shank, for that. So let's get started. We have a lot of info for you. 14 risk factors that increase your odds for dementia. It's an article written by Robin Foster for Newsmax, and it was dated Thursday, August 1st, 2024. New research has added 2 conditions to the list of 12 risk factors that boost the chances of a dementia diagnosis. The good news? Well, you can guard against the development of both, and researchers offer advice on exactly how to do that. In a study published Wednesday in The Lancet, scientists reported that new evidence now supports adding vision loss and high cholesterol to the list of modifiable risk factors for the memory-robbing illness. Our new report reveals that there is much more that can and should be done to reduce the risk of dementia. It's never too early or too late to take action. with opportunities to make an impact at any stage of life. Lead study author Gil Livingston from the University College London said in a journal news release, quote, "We now have stronger evidence that longer exposure to risk has a greater effect and that risks act more strongly in people who are vulnerable," Livingston added. That's why it's vital that we redouble preventative efforts towards those who need them the most. New risk factors for dementia join a list that includes less education, head injury, physical inactivity, smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, hearing loss, depression, infrequent social contact, air pollution. Now, luckily, years of research has suggested that eating healthy, exercising, and avoiding both smoking and excessive alcohol use should improve your odds against dementia. Healthy lifestyles that involve regular exercise, not smoking, cognitive activity in midlife, including outside formal education, and avoiding excess alcohol can not only lower dementia risk, but may also push back dementia onset, Livingston noted. So if people do develop dementia, they are likely to live less years with it. Now, this has huge quality of life implications for individuals as well as cost-saving benefits for societies. For the two latest risk factors that were spotted, the study authors urged doctors to detect and treat high cholesterol from midlife on, while also making vision loss screening and treatment more accessible. While air pollution is considered a lesser-known risk for dementia, it's one that has become even more pressing as wildfires spread across the western United States and Canada this summer. In a study published last year, researchers estimated nearly 188,000 dementia cases in the United States every year may have been caused by air pollution. More recently, a study presented at the Alzheimer's Association annual meeting in Philadelphia found exposure to wildfire smoke could raise the risk of being diagnosed with dementia. That early research is now undergoing peer review. Wildfires can be very disruptive to daily routines, and so it's possible that the stress, the anxiety, the disruption of day-to-day life could unmask an underlying dementia. And somebody who has not been diagnosed, study author Holly Elser, a neurology resident at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, told CBS News when the study was released.
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
My grandmother had Alzheimer's, and I remember we were all in the hospital room, and for like 10 seconds she recognized who we were, and then it was gone. So it's like a thief. It's taking away memories and who you are as a person. Over 5.5 million Americans have Alzheimer's. That number may double by 2050. For more information, visit rightfocus.org.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
An article from Newsmax, Wednesday, July 31st, Alzheimer's drug Leqembi benefits increase over time. And the article is written by Julie Steenhuisen. The benefit of Eisai and Biogen's Alzheimer's drug Leqembi in patients with early-stage Alzheimer's appears to increase with continued use with no safety issues, according to the 3-year data presented at an Alzheimer's meeting on Tuesday. In the company's pivotal clinical trial, Leqembi reduced cognitive decline by 27% after 18 months, data that supported the drug's approval last year. The new study looked at how the drug performed in about 95% of trial patients who continued on the treatment. Now, after 3 years, Leqembi slowed cognitive decline by 31% compared to what would have been expected in similar patients who did not receive treatment. Now, there were no new safety findings over the 3-year period. Brain swelling and bleeding associated with drugs that work by removing amyloid plaque from the brain largely occurred within the first 6 months of treatment. That was according to Dr. Christopher Van Dyck, director of Yale's Alzheimer's Disease Research Unit. He told that at the meeting. A separate analysis of data from the mid-stage study looked at patients who had a gap in treatment of 9 to 59 months following 18 months of initial treatment. In that study, there was still a difference. But once treatment stopped, the rate of cognitive decline reverted back to what was seen in patients on the placebo. Discontinuation of treatment also showed increases in Alzheimer's-related disease biomarkers, such as return of amyloid plaques. The findings were part of several presentations at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference in Philadelphia, aimed at showing that ESA's drug continues to benefit patients who stay on Leqembi after amyloid has been removed. ESA's drug targets protofibrils, toxic building blocks that eventually form clumps in the brain known as amyloid plaques, a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. Leqembi both removes amyloid plaques and continues to target protofibrils, which can injure brain cells. There is no question long-term benefit is better than short-term benefit, Dr. Lynn Kramer, ESA's chief clinical officer, told Reuters. Now, the studies underlined differences between ESA's and Biogen's treatment, Eli Lilly's Alzheimer's drug Kinsella, which was approved on July 2nd. The Lilly drug exclusively targets amyloid plaques, and once the brain plaque is gone, patients can discontinue treatment. So they're making a lot of headway in finding good treatment for people who have Alzheimer's.
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Are you the caregiver for someone living with dementia? You're not alone.
I was a caregiver for my wife for 10 years, and it was a lot of work.
I'm a caretaker for my wife who has Alzheimer's.
I'm a caregiver of my husband that has CTE, and it's incredibly challenging.
The Dubin Center in Fort Myers has been offering free educational classes and support since 1995.
The Dubin Center has helped me exponentially with so many questions answered. It's just been great.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
The Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's. They're fighting for a different future for families facing the disease today, for more time, for treatments. And they're closer than ever to stopping Alzheimer's. But to get there, they need you. Join the world's largest fundraiser to fight the disease. Find your walk. Go to alz.org, alz.org, and there's also a tab there for Spanish. Just type in your zip code or search by state. If you need more information, you can call 1-800-272-3900. Now, in Southwest Florida, where I reside, the walks near you will take place. October 19th at Sun City Center, November 2nd in Sarasota, Florida. Naples, Florida's walk is November 9th. Boca Raton, Florida, November 10th. And Fort Myers, Florida, November 16th. So help them out. Help fight a insidious disease. Thank you. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Tell us your name.
My name is Bunny.
And where are you from, Bunny?
Originally from New Jersey, a little town called Fairhaven. It sits on the Navesink River between Red Bank and Rumson.
Okay, and where are you living now?
Now I'm in Fort Myers, Florida.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, going back to New Jersey, I graduated high school from there in 1966. I went to Rumson Fairhaven Regional High School. And in 1966, I met a man that I dated for a while. I married a sailor. And we married in 68, and unfortunately it didn't last. I left in 1970 and moved to Fort Myers.
Okay, so you came to Florida. Are you married now?
Yes, I am.
Great. Do you have any kids?
Yes, we do. We have a daughter who's 39 now.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
We're married 40 years.
40 years?
Yes, sir. And we had our daughter in 85.
Is she your caregiver?
No, my husband's my caregiver.
Okay, very good. Has he been helpful?
Yes, indeed.
Do you know why we asked you here today?
Yeah, because I've got Alzheimer's.
You were diagnosed back in 2018 with early onset of Alzheimer's disease. What do you think about that?
I think it stinks.
Yeah. And you always tell people you're in great shape, except for your brain. What do you mean by that?
Well, I can function and I can take care of myself, and I just have memory loss, which is not so much fun, but at least it's not detrimental.
Okay. How did you feel when the doctor told you that you have Alzheimer's?
Well, I didn't really know what to expect.
Was it a surprise?
Yes.
And why did you go to the doctors?
Beats me.
Beats you. Okay. Did somebody think that maybe you had some memory issues?
Probably.
And what did you do after the news that you have Alzheimer's settled in? How did you feel?
No, I don't know how to explain how I felt. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. What action did your family take? Did they take you someplace?
Well, my husband did the best he could to make me feel better. And I don't know what else to say.
Okay. Did you make changes? Are you still driving? What?
No, they told me I can't drive anymore.
And who told you that?
The doctor.
Okay. So did you make changes? Did you do anything? Work out a plan? Or I mean, what do you do?
Well, I ride my tricycle.
Okay, good.
Every day, 6 miles.
Did you start out with 6 miles, or did you just...
No, I started at 3 because I was walking 3 miles.
Man.
And now I can't walk anymore because I have plantar fasciitis, which is slowly going away. So I look forward to going back to walking, too.
Mm-hmm. Do you do any reading? Do you do any exercises? Do you go to a gym?
I read.
Okay.
I read occasionally, not as much as I should, but I do enjoy reading. I don't go to a gym, but I do floor exercises at home after my bike ride.
And why do you do those?
Because my husband told me to.
Does it have anything to do with your balance?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It has a lot to do with it.
And why do you think you need to help your balance?
Because my brain doesn't function properly.
Did you fall?
Sometimes I have fallen, yes.
Do you think the stretching and the exercises help you?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Good. What about your diet? I mean, are you eating the same food that you ate way back when, or have you made any changes?
No, I've changed my diet. I eat mainly, what do I say? Better foods than I ate before.
Okay. Do you think that's helping?
It must be, yeah.
Do you take any special foods? Do you take vitamins? Do you take medications?
Oh, I take lots of meds, and I do take vitamins, and I eat not special foods, but I eat mostly in the morning. I have oatmeal with fruit, and then for lunch I have yogurt, and I have some more fruit with that, and at supper changes from time to time.
Okay. Do you do any special drinks?
I do an energy drink, yes.
Okay.
Protein drink.
And what's the special thing that you put in that drink to make it special for you?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I can't tell you. Oh, MCT oil is part of it. And there's 2 other products, and I can't remember what they're called.
You've got a very positive attitude. Do you think that might help?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
You got to be positive. You can't let it get you down, because I feel good, and I have anticipation for good things.
Okay, good. You went to the Dubin Center in Fort Myers in the early stages. Do you feel that it helped you?
Mm-hmm, yeah, I wish we could go more often, though, because we did do puzzles and fun game things that made a difference.
What about your caregiver? Did it help them?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
And your caregiver, is he helpful?
Oh, indeed. Of course, I wouldn't do without. I couldn't do without him. My husband, Ray. He drives me wherever I need to go because I'm not permitted to drive anymore, which I really don't know why, but they told me I can't drive. And he takes me everywhere I need to go, from church to, of course, he goes with me to that. Shopping, Walmart, this Publix, wherever I need to go. He's more than willing to take me.
Let me ask you, do you have any advice for others who have been recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia? What would you tell them?
To not to let it get you down and to see a doctor and find out if you need certain meds.
Where do you go from here? Will you continue to work at what you started?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Well, you're doing bike riding, you're doing your balancing exercises, you're reading a little bit, you do word puzzles sometimes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Are you going to continue to do that, or are you just going to go,
No, I'll continue with that. It's
Good.
fun. I enjoy doing those things.
Now, the future, nobody really knows what that is, but how do you feel about it? Will you continue to work at making yourself the best you can be?
Oh, of course.
Of course.
I look forward to a bright future.
Anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I don't think so. You have any questions?
We really appreciate your time today, Bunny, and your positive attitude about your illness. You're a bright spot in a dark circumstance. We hope for continued progress as you fight this insidious illness. God bless you, Bunny.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, that's a wrap. Hope you've enjoyed today's podcast, especially the interview with Bunny. We thought it might be a bit different. In the next couple episodes, we'll be talking to an Alzheimer's advocate who had reached out to Gut Punched, and she has published a couple of books, one which is pretty unique. It's called The Amazing Adventures of the Jolly Heart Squad, a book to help explain Alzheimer's to children with characters that she created. It's really fun. And to top that, she created a coloring book that features the characters of her book that the kids couldn't color to. We'll also be speaking with a former law enforcement officer who owns and operates a driving school that tests memory-impaired drivers to see if they should still be able to drive and determine if it's time to turn in the keys. And if you're a caregiver, you have probably experienced this battle. We hope that if you know someone who has a family member or friends who are dealing with a loved one who has Alzheimer's or any type of dementia, that you would let them know about this podcast. And for more information, you can check out the Alzheimer's Support Network at alzsupport.org about us. And that's alzsupport.org/about us. Or you can check out the Dubin Center at dubincenter.com. To find your local chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, you can visit alz.org. Local resources, find your local chapter. Now, if you have any questions or thoughts about Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and caregivers, or if there is a specific topic you'd like to know more about, reach out to us. The website is gutpunched.com, and the email address is gutpunchedac@outlook.com. And the website is almost finished. I have somebody really competent working on this, and I think you'll like it when it's done. A special shout out to Rick Peterson, Aura Santana, Gentry Thomas, Dan Moser, Sheila Book, and the Dubin Center for their tremendous help and support in making this podcast possible. A special thanks to Bunny, my wife, for engaging in today's interview. I know it wasn't easy for her. Thanks for joining us, and please come back again for more. God bless.
This has been Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers, with your host, Jeff Edwards. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to us on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple, Pandora, and more. If you have a question or you want to get in touch, our email is gutpunchedac@outlook.com, or you can visit our website at gutpunched.com.